Hello and welcome everyone. This is a series of tutorials about the Tanzu application platform GUI, Graphical User Interface, and the framework it's built on, called the Backstage open source project. My name is Andrei Zimin. I'm the product line manager at VMware Tanzu, and I will be giving you this series of tutorials to talk about the core functionality of Backstage and how it enhances and is enhanced by the Tanzu application platform. There is a plethora of material that is available on Tanzu application platform, but what I wanted to talk today is the foundation that our graphical user interface is built on. And here I'm trying to recreate the logo of Backstage. Backstage is a wildly popular framework that has been originally created by Spotify and later donated to CNCF, Cloud Native Computing Foundation, and has attracted a lot of followers for its plugin-like, Lego-like architecture and ease of extending its functionality through plugins. Now, you will hear me refer a lot to the term plugin. In Backstage framework, essentially a plugin is any type of self-contained code which represents certain functionality or a certain integration with a third-party tool or a native tool. We'll start with the core plugins and the core functionality of Backstage, and I break them down into 4 components. The first one is called Service Discoverability. Next one is documentation, docs. Third one is templating. And I'll speak in some detail about each one of them. And last but not least is what I refer to as platform visibility. So let me speak to each one of these features in detail and tell you which core plugins represent them. The first one is Service Discoverability, and at the heart of it is the Software Catalog plugin of Backstage. Software Catalog. Let me box it. So Software Catalog is at the heart of the Backstage instance. It references all the different software assets that the organization has, its dependencies, its ownership, everything that helps the developers learn about these services within the organization faster. To give you a little more detail on how this works, we usually break it down into 2 scenarios. In the first scenario, I am an app developer who just joined the organization, and I'm trying to understand what my team owns, which applications and microservices are within our range of responsibility. Where do I find this information? The second scenario is, as an experienced app developer on the team, I know well enough what my scope is and what the microservices that my team owns are. But I want to reach out to a different team. I want to learn about their applications and microservices. Where do I find this information? The answer to both of them is through Software Catalog, and that catalog of software assets that the organization compiles here. The second part of Service Discoverability is called API Docs, and it talks about all the different endpoints, API endpoints, to help developers connect their microservices and their applications to each other. And the third one I'll mention here is called Search, which provides a search capability to all of the software catalog and API and documentation so that everything is available at the fingertips. The next one is called documentation, and the plugin that I want to bring up here is called Tech Docs. It represents the concept of documentation as code and lets you have all of your documentation very close to your software catalog, so that all of it is available in one place, and your developers don't have to context switch between different tabs and different applications and different solutions. Templating is a very interesting capability, and it is represented by a plugin called Software Templates. Software Templates, which is another core plugin of Backstage. And it essentially provides you a starting point, that hello world application code that developers can take and streamline their software development lifecycle. And last but not least is platform visibility. How can developers see the runtime resources on the platform that their Backstage instance has visibility into? That one is provided by the Kubernetes plugin. Let me box that as well. So all of these plugins, all of these different functionalities represent the core features of Backstage. And this concludes our introduction to the Backstage framework. In our later tutorials, I will go through all of these functionalities again and tell you how they enhance and how they are enhanced by the Tanzu application platform to bring you that experience of the Tanzu application platform GUI. Thank you.